بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ياسين والقرآن الحكيم إنك لمن المرسلين على صراط مستقيم تنزيل العزيز الرحيم لتنذر قوما ما أنذر آباءهم فهم غافلون فقد حق القول على أكثرهم فهم لا يؤمنون إنا جعلنا في أعناقهم أغلالا فهي إلى الأذقان فهم مقمحون وجعلنا من بين أيديهم سدا ومن خلفهم سدا فأغشيناهم فهم لا يبصرون وسواء عليهم أنذرتهم أم لم تنذرهم لا يؤمنون إنما تنذر من اتبع الذكر وخشي الرحمن بالغيب فبشره بمغفرة وأجر كريم إنا نحن نحيي الموتى ونكتب ما قدموا وآثارهم وكل شيء أحصيناه في إمام مبين واضرب لهم مثلا أصحاب القرية إذ جاءها المرسلون إذ أرسلنا إليهم اثنين فكذبوهما فعززنا بثالث فقالوا إنا إليكم مرسلون قالوا ما أنتم إلا بشر مثلنا وما أنزل الرحمن من شيء إن أنتم إلا تكذبون قالوا ربنا يعلم إنا إليكم لمرسلون وما علينا إلا البلاغ المبين قالوا إنا تطيرنا بكم لئن لم تنتهوا لنرجمنكم وليمسنكم منا عذاب أليم قالوا طائركم معكم أن ذكرتم بل أنتم قوم مسرفون وجاء من أقصى المدينة رجل يسعى قال يا قوم اتبعوا المرسلين اتبعوا من لا يسألكم أجرا وهم مهتدون وما لي لا أعبد الذي فطرني وإليه ترجعون أتخذ من دونه آلهة إن يردني الرحمن بضر لا تغني عني شفاعتهم شيئا ولا ينقذون إني ضل في ضلال مبين إني آمنت بربكم فاسمعون قيل ادخل الجنة قال يا ليت قومي يعلمون بما غفر لي ربي وجعلني من المكرمين وما أنزلنا على قومه من بعده من جند من السماء وما كنا منزلين إن كانت إلا صيحة واحدة فإذا هم خامدون يا حسرة على العباد ما يأتيهم من رسول إلا كانوا به يستهزئون ألم يروا كم أهلكنا قبلهم من القرون أنهم إليهم لا يرجعون وإن كل لما جميع لدينا محضرون وآية لهم الأرض الميتة أحييناها وأخرجنا منها حبا فمنه يأكلون وجعلنا فيها جنات من نخيل وعناب وفجرنا فيها من العيون ليأكلوا من ثمره وما عملته أيديهم أفلا يشكرون سبحان الذي خلق الأزواج كلها مما تنبت الأرض ومن أنفسهم ومما لا يعلمون وآية لهم الليل نسلخ منه النهار فإذا هم مظلمون والشمس تجري لمستقر لها ذلك تقدير العزيز العليم والقمر قدرناه منازل حتى عاد كالعرجون القديم لا الشمس ينبغي لها أن تدرك وكل في فلك يسبحون وآية لهم أنا حملنا ذريتهم في الفلك المشحون وخلقنا لهم من مثله ما يركبون وإن نشأ نغرقهم فلا صريخ لهم ولا هم ينقذون إلا رحمة منا ومتاعا إلى حين وإذا قيل لهم اتقوا ما بين أيديكم وما خلفكم لعلكم ترحمون وما تأتيهم من آية من آيات ربهم إلا كانوا عنها معرضين وإذا قيل لهم أنفقوا مما رزقكم الله قال الذين كفروا للذين آمنوا أنطعم من لو يشاء الله أطعمه إن أنتم إلا في ضلال مبين ويقولون متى هذا الوعد إن كنتم صادقين ما ينظرون إلا صيحة واحدة تأخذهم وهم يخرسون فلا يستطيعون توصية ولا إلى أهلهم يرجعون ونفخ في الصور فإذا هم من الأجداث إلى ربهم ينسلون صدق الله العظيم.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قالوا يا ويلنا من بعثنا من مرقدنا هذا ما وعد الرحمن وصدق المرسلون إن كانت إلا صيحة واحدة فإذا هم جميع لدينا محضرون فاليوم لا تظلم نفس شيئا ولا تجزون إلا ما كنتم تعملون إن أصحاب الجنة اليوم في شغل فاكهون هم وأزواجهم في ظلال على الأرائك متكئون لهم فيها فاكهة ولهم ما يدعون سلام قولا من رب رحيم وامتازوا اليوم أيها المجرمون ألم أعهد إليكم يا بني آدم ألا تعبدوا الشيطان إنه لكم عدو مبين وأن اعبدوني هذا صراط مستقيم ولقد أضل منكم جبلا كثيرا أفلم تكونوا تعقلون هذه جهنم التي كنتم توعدون اصلوها اليوم بما كنتم تكفرون اليوم نختم على أفواههم وتكلمنا أيديهم وتشهد أرجلهم بما كانوا يكسبون ولو نشاء لطمسنا على أعينهم فاستبقوا الصراط فأنى يبصرون ولو نشاء لمسخناهم على مكانتهم فما استطاعوا مضيا ولا يرجعون ومن نؤمره ننكسه في الخلق أفلا يعقلون وما علمناه الشعر وما ينبغي له إن هو إلا ذكر وقرآن مبين لينذر من كان حيا ويحق القول على الكافرين أولم يروا أنا خلقنا لهم مما عملته أيدينا أنعاما فهم لها مالكون وذللناها لهم فمنها ركوبهم فمنها يأكلون ولهم فيها منافع ومشارب أفلا يشكرون واتخذوا من دون الله آلهة لعلهم ينصرون لا يستطيعون نصرهم وهم لهم جند محضرون فلا يحزنك قولهم إنا نعلم ما يسرون وما يعلنون أولم ير الإنسان إنا خلقناه من نطفة فإذا هو خصيم مبين وضرب لنا مثلا ونسي خلقه قال من يحيي العظام وهي رميم قل يحييها الذي أنشأها أول مرة وهو بكل خلق عليم الذي جعل لكم من الشجر الأخضر نارا فإذا أنتم منه توقدون أوليس الذي خلق السماوات والأرض بقادر على أن يخلق مثلهم بلى وهو الخلاق العليم إنما أمره إذا أراد شيئا أن يقول له كن فيكون سبحان الذي بيده ملكوت بكل شيء وإليه ترجعون صدق الله العلي العظيم صلوات
I'm going to do a presentation on Imam Hasan. About Imam Hasan. Imam Hasan is our second Imam. One of his titles is al-Mujtaba, the chosen one. He was very kind and always shared what he had. Imam Hasan alayhi salam is the son of Imam Ali alayhi salam and Sayyidah Fatima alayhi salam. He's the older brother of Imam Hussein also alayhi salam. Imam Hasan was born 15th Ramadan, 3 AH after. How Imam Hasan died. Imam Hasan was killed by his wife Joda. Muawiyah told Joda to poison Imam Hasan and in return she can marry Yazid and become princess. Joda killed Imam Hasan by poisoning him. Imam Hasan died on 7th Safar and is buried in Jannatul Baqi.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل الفاتحة. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل، نعم المولى ونعم النصير. أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين خالق السماوات والأرض، إلها واحدا أحدا صمدا لم يتخذ صاحبة ولا ولدا، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين خاتم النبيين رحمة للعالمين طه وياسين بالقاسم محمد. وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين المنتجبين، ورحمة الله على محبيهم ولعنة الله على أعدائهم وقاتليهم وغاصب حقوق حقهم ومنكر فضائلهم أجمعين من يومنا هذا إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد، فقد قال الله سبحانه وتبارك في كتابه الحكيم وفرقانه المجيد وقوله الحق. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل لا أسألكم عليه أجرا إلا المودة في القربى. صلاة. Respected sisters and brothers, my youngsters, my elders, Assalamu alaikum jami'an wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. عظم الله وجورنا ووجوركم بمصابنا وعبد الله وإمام al-Hasan al-Mujtaba alayhi salatu wassalam. I extend condolences to the Ummah on this night that we're marking. We're commemorating the Shahadat anniversary according to one narration of Imam Hasan ibn Ali al-Mujtaba alayhi salatu wassalam. And in my Jummah khutbah today, I had mentioned that there are a couple of riwayat, and two narrations. One is on the 7th of Safar, one is on the 28th of Safar, marking the Shahadat anniversary of our second Imam. I don't want to go into the details as to the reasons or the why there are different dates of various Shahadats or Wiladats, because I had made a promise and I was not trying to get myself re-invited, but I was just wanting to fulfill a commitment that I had made last week in today's discussion as well. And that is that, inshallah, we were also continuing the discussion on Imam, the fourth holy Imam, and the monumental booklet that he had left behind, the collection of du'as, of supplications that the Imam had left behind. And I had mentioned at the introduction of that discussion that there was one particular supplication or dua that I wanted to, inshallah, address in today's discussion. And I'm not sure how far we will get into it, but there are a lot of things that we find that this dua, which I had mentioned, is called dua makarimul akhlaq. Makarimul akhlaq means the pinnacle or the heights of perfection. How to achieve, or how this prayer or this supplication gets us to that level of basically perfecting our etiquettes, our morals, our values, and our traits. Okay? And that's why it's called makarimul akhlaq. Akhlaq basically refers to what our morals are, our values are, how we conduct ourselves, how we live in this world that we are in today. And one of the things that we find, and if I even move away from the Islamic etiquette, if I move away from the Islamic discussion, we find that even amongst the worldly philosophers, psychiatrists and psychologists, and also especially the sociologists, there is no consensus on what defines a perfect human being. What defines a perfect human being? And I'm talking about even from the Western sociologists. And if you look at even Freud's writings about what he decides and discusses about the perfection of the human being or the lack thereof, you look at in George Orwell's novel about 1984, whereby he talks about a lot of things of what the manipulation or the surveillance of the human being will be, according to his opinion, in 1984, because he wrote that book in 1948. And so he talks about how it is evil to do something like this, to survey somebody, to look at or impeach and impound on somebody's personal or private lives. But when we look at the sociological response in the society that we live in, if I was to ask any philosopher, any thinker, any scientist, any sociologist, any mediator, any arbitrator, whether somebody is doing, basically somebody is mediating a family dispute or working on a communal basis, and I was to ask that person, in your opinion, what is a perfect human being? Define perfection. We will find that there will be a lot of answers to that question. Is one's physique a definition of perfection? One's height or shortness? One's ability to exercise or build? One's color of skin? One's way of conducting themselves? One's ability, because each one of these has got pros and cons. If you look at somebody's height, that is not something within their control. If you look at somebody who is defined as perfect, they should be tall, well, the height is not something that they can control. Some things are just inherited, something are God-given. If you're short, if you're tall, it's not in your control. If you've got an imbalance of, your ears or your nose, again, not within your control. Now, what else? They'll say, well, color of skin. So does that mean that the people who live on a certain continent are worse than the people who live in another continent? Again, nothing to do with what you have within your control or power. There's no control. So what defines it? There's a very beautiful explanation given by Shaykh Ayatollah Murtada Mutahari in his book Insan-e Kamil. In his Insan-e Kamil, he talks about these discussions about what is perfection, what defines perfection, and then he ties that in with the life of Amirul Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wasalam, and he says that the perfection of the human being is not limited, is not solely confined to one's physique or bodily abilities or functions, but rather what they become and what they make themselves into. That is where the perfection of the human being becomes understood. And he also clarifies, he says that aside from the Ahlul Bayt, there is no human being who is perfect. All we can do is strive toward, work towards, and make endeavors towards perfection. So therefore, when somebody thinks that they are perfect, they stop. The train stops. They will not do anything else to make themselves better. A true Muslim, a true believer, a true follower of Muhammad and Ali Muhammad alayhi salam will realize that perfection is not a if we take something good from it, we are working towards that struggle or towards that journey, a journey towards perfection, towards becoming Insan-e Kamil, becoming the ideal, perfect human being. Because the minute somebody says, okay, I've reached perfection, then the journey has ended. That person is actually doing themselves a disservice. The minute we think that we have achieved something, you know, if you look at, for example, an employee who is at work, an employee, if you are happy with the salary you're getting, if you're happy with the position you have, if you're happy with everything, you will do a certain level of work that will keep your job intact, but not make you very noticeable. And if you look at how we as employees might be, we find that this is not the ideal. The ideal is, and you know, some people have told me, oh no, I don't want to be a supervisor, I don't want to be a manager, too many headaches, too many tensions, and all that. That's fine. It's fine if you don't want to be a manager, a supervisor, a department head, that's okay, that's not a problem. I'm not saying everybody should try towards becoming this or that. What I'm saying is, everybody should try to making your job better or doing your job better so that at least there is some progress, even if that progress is an inner progress. I was looking at one of these car rental companies. They had they have these fact sheets. And they said that, oh, you know, our decision to pick up and drop our customers, this car rental company, he said that idea, that suggestion was given to us by an employee. And that employee came up with this idea where we should pick up people and drop people with those who cannot. And we have implemented it. Now every one of that particular car rental locations branches offers that service. There is one employee came up with that. Now I'm sure he or she must have gotten a bonus, must have gotten some reward or what have you. And we find that when we look at even our own places, we find that there was somebody somehow who did something that made an impact, made something better for us. And when we look at, I'm even looking at the extension, I'm looking at the black cloth, I'm looking at all the maintenance work and everything, and I see all of that making progress. Why? To make it better for the community. I mean, if it was in my hands, I would just leave everything alone. I'm not one for change, I'm not good at change. I don't adapt very easily. But all of you realize that, no, we need to do this, we need to do that, we need to have all of this so that the community benefits. Whether I benefit or not is irrelevant. We want the community to benefit, and that has been the intention of the Mu'mineen who have done this work. They have done this work. Today when we were listening to our young brother Muhammad Asad, we see that, you know, very rarely the students, youngsters come forward and say, okay, I want to say something, I want to do something, I want to, you know, share something with the community. Alhamdulillah. Because again, the status quo is not always the ideal. What is happening is not always the ideal. Now here we enter our fourth Imam, Imam Ali ibn al-Hussein, Sayyid al-Abidin alayhi salatu wasalam, whereby the Imam in his dua, Makarimul Akhlaq, the pinnacle of perfection of ethics and values and traits, the Imam now starts that dua with Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. I mentioned that last week, how the Imam starts and ends every one of his duas with the salawat at the beginning, at the end. This is like the assurance that our duas will reach the heavens. And then the Imam starts out that, oh Allah, give me Iman akmal al-Iman. Give me faith, but the best of faith. And then al-Imam says, give me yaqeen wa afdal al-yaqeen. The Imam says, no, yeah, I want to have certainty, I want to have faith, but not just iman, not just yaqeen, not just certainty. I want it, but I want the best of it. Because one of the things that a believer strives for, a mu'min strives for, a Muslim strives for, is not just that they want this, they want the best of it. They don't just want to be a good student, they want to be the best student in their class. Then you know that this is a real Muslim, a real believer. They were in the camp, they are in the madrasa, they are in the school, they are in the university, they are in the college. It's not enough for a Muslim just to say that, yeah, I'm okay, I'm a good student. No, I want to be the best student. Afdalul Iman, Akmalul Iman, Afdalul Yaqeen. I want to have the best of Yaqeen. Mawla is teaching us to ask from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, oh Allah, I don't want just certainty, I don't want just Iman, I want Akmalul Iman, I want the highest level of Iman. I don't want Yaqeen, I don't want certainty, I want Afdalul Yaqeen, I want the highest level of certainty. Because you see, when a believer, when a mu'min has iman, and it is akmalul iman, the highest level of iman, then all of a sudden they will understand that they have a responsibility in this world. They are surrendering to the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When the iman is there, then we don't question, Ya Allah, why did you do this to me? Ya Allah, I have yaqeen, I have certainty. Should I do this or should I do that? Akmalul, afdalul yaqeen. The highest level. So the Imam immediately opens the door by telling us that Iman is not only a good thing, but our strive should be for the best of Iman. Our certainty should not just be there asking Allah for certainty. Even if somebody has certainty, that is, alhamdulillah, that's a good stage. But when we ask Allah for afdalul yaqeen, we're asking for something a lot more. Imagine for a moment. Have you ever had a moment, a day, let's say it's your child's birthday coming up, or your child graduated, or something special in your child's life. And then you ask them, what do you want? What do you want for your birthday? What do you want as your gift? What do you want as your prize, as your surprise? How many different answers we've had? How many cute answers and things we have had? I would like this, I would like that, I want this, I want that. You see, we are all children in some ways. We are all children in some ways. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created us, so He knows. And the Ahlul Bayt are the representatives of Allah, so they also understand that this is the human being, this is insan. We know his psyche, we know what he wants, what she wants, we know his mindset because we have created it. Now, Allah Ta'ala is asking, what would you like? The supplications that we have, the prayers that we have, basically Allah Ta'ala is inviting us to ask for what we want. The same way your parent will ask you, what would you like for your birthday? What would you like for Eid? Huh? We have a list, right? Even at my age, I still give my father and mother a list. Papa, I want this, I want that, I want that. I want, है ना? Ye dijiye, please give me this, please give me that, please. We always start with please, alhamdulillah, don't we? We say, yeah, Baba, please give me this. How many times does our child come to us and say, Baba, give me this? They know that they want something. They want something, so they condition us. I didn't realize the importance of this conditioning, preconditioning. I didn't realize it until I started taking my car to the charging outlet. Electric cars are, mashallah, they're very different. Huh? They tell you that before you get there, you have to press these buttons. They precondition the battery. What do you know? Preconditioning the battery means it is now getting the battery ready so that it will maximize the charge. In order to maximize, you have to if you just go there and you just plug it in, yeah, it'll take a few minutes longer than what it would do as if you do those buttons ahead of time. The same way we are insan. So we understand that if I want something from my father, I want something for Eid from my mother, we precondition them and say, okay, please, if you don't mind, can you give me this? Please, can you help me with that? I need to get, a mortgage done. Can you please co-sign that letter for me? Isn't it? I don't know about you, I had to do that. The please was always there. And you see, we are brilliant psychologists, aren't we? Psychiatrists as well. It's not that I'll do it on the phone. I'll go to Papa's house and I'll ask him, then please, can you do this for me? This is why I came here. I needed to ask you that. So that, you soften them up and then you'll get it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not like that. But there is a certain softening or a preconditioning. And that is what Mawla Zainul Abidin Islam taught us. He said when you want to precondition that dua to be accepted, that is when you recite the salawat at the beginning and then say, okay, now I want this and then I want that, Ya Allah. The salawat becomes the preconditioning. It is now preparing us for that dua. How do we start our dua kumail? Do we ask anything in dua kumail at the beginning? Allahumma inni a'udhuka, Allahumma inni as'aluka. We start out with, oh Allah, I am asking what? I'm not asking for money. I'm not asking for a job. I'm not asking for increase in rizq. What am I asking for? Read the dua yourself. You've just heard it. Beautiful recitation. May Allah bless you, inshallah. See what it is. And you'll understand what a dua is as opposed to a hajat. Then the Imam, now that we have preconditioned ourselves, our own mindset, we are now preparing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to listen to us, because we are asking for these things that are very spiritual. They are much higher. Then the dua now starts taking form. The supplication now, you see what the Imam's intention is that whatever the dunya says, whatever the psychologists and sociologists of the world will say, the Imam says we want to move you away from that and reach you or bring you to a level that is a much higher level, a much more beloved level. We're going to tell you what will make the ideal human being, what will make the best of human beings. Oh Allah, I want you to employ me. This is what the dua is saying. In dua mukaramul akhlaq, I want you to make me employed, to put me in such work, make me do things that you will be asking me about tomorrow. Make sure that I'm ready for that answer tomorrow. Allahu Akbar. Tomorrow you're going to ask me, get me ready from today. La ilaha illallah. Look at how the vision of the dua is, that you're going to ask me about this tomorrow. How many times have we sat down, have we thought to ourselves in our minds that Allah Ta'ala will be asking me about this tomorrow? Am I making preparations for it from today? I will be asked about it tomorrow. I will worry about when it comes. So many times I hear youngsters say, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. You've heard that saying? We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Yani, I don't want to think about it. I don't want to think about tomorrow. I don't want to think about what will happen in the akhirah. I don't want to think about what will happen in the qabr. I don't want to think about what will happen in the grave. I don't want to think about all those things. I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. And a lot of times there is a mentality, a thought in our minds in which we are thinking that maybe I will start, when I get older, I'll start praying. When I get older, I'll start wearing hijab. When I get older. The last 6 mayyats I have gone to. How many? The last 6 mayyats that I have been to. I have seen something that if you were to take the rest of my life of 25 years of attending mayyats, conducting mayyats, I have not seen in this many months. 6 mayyats, one of the parents, if not both, were present at that. Were present. Yani what I'm saying is, younger people are leaving this world, and yet I am thinking, I will do my ibadat, I'll start worshipping God when I get older, knowing that I don't know there is a guarantee whether I will get older or not, my dear sisters and brothers. Imam is teaching us this. 1400 years ago, the Imam says, Ya Allah, employ me today in what you will be asking me about tomorrow. And then the Imam then takes us on a more social level. What does the Imam say? He says, Ya Allah, I want to worship you, but do not let my worship be tainted with self-admiration. La ilaha illallah. A lot of times, I'm not talking about you, I'm talking about myself. I will do a salat, and I will think, wow, I did a favor on God, didn't I? I did an extra 2 rakat salat, I did God a favor. I did salatul layl, namaz al-shab, I did a favor. I feel like I've done something. I did my salatul ghufayla, I did my this salat, I did that. I've done a favor of God. Imam is telling us, let me do ibadat, let me worship you, Ya Allah, but do not taint that worship with self-admiration that I think I've done something. I have done zero. Because there's no guarantee anything is accepted. And so the relationship between us and the Creator becomes established. I want to worship you, Allah, but do not let that worship be tainted with self-admiration that I think I've done something, that I feel like I've done something. No. Keep that out. The Imam says, let me help the people. The dua continues beautifully. Imam says, let me help the people. Let me do good to the people. But do not make me feel like they are obligated to me. Allahu Akbar. A lot of times these are, there's one of the things that Islam does is it contradicts the human emotions and responses and reactions. A lot of times we do things with an expectation. I want something in return. I was once told that the only person who loves you unconditionally is your mother. I don't know if that's, inshallah, I'm sure that's true. Okay? Everybody else's love is conditional. Because I love you, that's why you love me. Because you love me, that's why I love you. We have this interaction, interrelationship, whereby everything we do is conditional. So if I was to go one step beyond that and do a favor for you, and I was to do something for Brother Shuja, I will be thinking that, okay, next week when I come on Thursday night or on Friday night or on Jummah Namaz, you better come and say salam to me first. Huh? You better say salam to me first because, I did this for you. I gave you this for Eid. I haven't given you an Eid gift, forgive me, okay? But it's Muharram. So. What happens? I'm thinking that I've done something, now I better get my return on investment, huh? Because that's what we do. When we put money in our banks and in our deposits, we have what was called a return on investment. We want something else. If you put $1,000 in the bank and you expect a year later or 5 years later to get that same 1,000 back, you'll tell the bank, sir, that 1,000 that I gave you 5 years ago, it's not worth 1,000 today. I can't buy the same things that I could buy. Whether it's an appliance, whether it's an automobile, whether it is clothes or whatever. So how come there was nothing grew? Oh, okay, you want a return on investment. Well, then you should have done this or you should have done that. But the Imam is saying now, it's contradicting. You see how our thoughts, feelings, our nature is now being confronted and contradicted. I want something, Imam is saying, no, help somebody, but do not let them feel obliged. Do not make them feel obliged. It is as if you've done nothing. And that is why there's a hadith of the Holy Prophet of Islam, that if anybody whoever gets cursed, which person? It is the person who reminds others of the favors they've done on them. Yani Islam is telling us, the Prophet is telling us, when you do something good, forget about it. But if somebody does good on you, never forget. If somebody does good for you, upon you, never forget that. Whatever good you have done on others, put it out of your mind. Control, delete, finish, khalas. Don't even think about it. The Imam is saying, let me do good to others, but don't make me feel that they are obliged to me. Then the Imam goes on so beautifully. The dua, I know we have, inshallah, the matam as well. I'm just going to be having a couple of lines of this dua. That the Imam says that free me from need. You extend your provisions to me so that I don't have to ask anybody else. Then the Imam says that when you do free me from need, don't make me have a feeling of ingratitude. Don't make me feel that I have ingratitude to you. Make sure that I'm thankful to you. We're asking for that. And then the Imam, in another place, just later on this dua, within the second page, the Imam says something very profound, and I wanted to share this, and inshallah I'll probably conclude with this part, inshallah. The Imam teaches us to pray that, oh Allah, keep me alive as long as I am serving you. Keep me alive, keep me here in this dunya as long as I am serving you. The minute I become a toy in the hands of the Satan, of Shaitan, take me away. Imagine for a moment what a profound dua, supplication and a statement this is, that you're asking Allah, as long as I'm serving you, let me stay here. Let me be in this world. The minute I go towards Shaitan, take me away from here. So you can almost say that we're asking for our own extinction, our own eradication, provided we are going towards Shaitan. As long as we are serving Allah, we ask Allah, Allah, keep me here. I mean, look at the beauty of this dua. The whole human being's mentality, traits, moral values, and moral perception is also being developed and conditioned in a way that is almost unheard of in the Western world that we are in. That all these things we ask for would be completely unheard of in the society that we live in. In a society where there's conditional love, where there's always give and take, that I'm doing this because I want that in return. And here the Imam is taking us to a whole different dimension, a whole different level. A level where the human being reaches or strives towards insane kamil, towards being the perfect human being. The perfect human being can only be perfected when the moral values and his own thought process or her own thought processes are reaching towards perfection. If we stay idle minds are the handiwork of Satan, of the Shaitan. So as long as our mind is occupied and constantly striving towards the next station, the next level, the higher, because if you look at the lives of the urafa, if you look at the lives of the ulama, if you look at the lives of those who have reached phenomenal heights in their spirituality, You find that their minds are constantly engaged. You will find that their lives are constantly thinking about the hereafter, constantly thinking about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It was narrated that when Allama Tabatabai, when his wife passed away, he cried, he was crying torrents of tears. And when they asked him, Allama, why are you crying? And he replied, he said that she was a part of the al-Mizan that he wrote. She was a part of that. The thawab, that whatever thawab I may have received from Allah, she is a full sharik in that. She's a full partner in that. And it was narrated, you know why? There would be some days that he would be writing and writing and writing. He would be writing non-stop. She would actually be feeding him his morsels of food so that he could continue writing and he would not be interrupted. She would actually be feeding him the tea so that he would not be distracted. He would not be spending time drinking or sipping a cup of tea. He would be able to continue writing. Imagine for a moment. Sometimes one of my teachers was telling me, he says, Shafiq, imagine us today. Imagine today, I mean, we have lost a great generation of ulama, fuqaha, urafa, great scholars, legends. You know, when I go to my heart is bleeding, my eyes are full of tears. That, you know, we have lost such generations who have written things. You look at Allama Majlis's writings, you look at Allama Hilli's writings, you look at Sheikh Mufid's writings, you look at Sheikh Muhammad ibn Yaqub al-Kulaini, they're phenomenal. And then we look at today, for me to write 2 lines, I have to think and worry, should I not? And look at this, what have we done? What have I achieved? What have we done today that we can show Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that this is what I did? As close to zero as possible. We're not thinking, Imam is telling us, oh Allah, employ me today in what you'll ask me about tomorrow. I'm too busy with my life, I'm too busy making money, I'm too busy with my day-to-day, you know, these issues and problems and loves and hates. I'm so busy planning revenge on this one and that one. We don't have time to be employed in the service of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'm spending time getting back at people. I don't have time to serve Allah. I'm busy making my millions. I want to have this and I want to have that. I want the best of this. Imam is saying, have the best of Iman and the best of Yaqeen. But I want the best of cars and the best of houses. I want the best of clothes and I want the best of socks. I want shoes that people will look at and say, wow. And then we wonder why we are not progressing. Why our spirituality is not advancing. Why Allah Ta'ala is not pleased with us yet as He should be. A beautiful dua on Arafat Imam recites, Ya Allah, you are exactly how I want you to be. Make me how you want me to be. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. You are exactly how I want you to be, oh Allah, oh God. Make me how you would like me to be. But if I was to just leave the majlis with that one sentence, all of the things I've said is summarized in this. Make me the way you want me to be. This was the life of Imam Hasan al-Mujtaba. Didn't matter what the people wanted. Didn't matter what the people said. Didn't matter how the people's reaction was. The Imam was focused on the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What a life the Imam had. I often mention in every discussion about Imam al-Mujtaba that Imam Hasan is probably, perhaps I'm wrong, the most Muslim Imam. Some of you will say, what about Abu Abdullah? Yes, Imam's Mazlumiyat was in a different level. Imam Hasan's enemies were from within as well. Even those who claimed to be followers of Imam Hasan would actually belittle him and humiliate him. They would call him, na'udhu billah, amudhill al-Muslimin, the one who disgraced the believers. But the Imam knew that the only way to expose Muawiyah and the plans of Yazid and the Banu Umayyah was to sign the treaty with Muawiyah and to ensure that the future will know, that the people will know. Because our A'imma alayhimus salam will always act in the orders of Allah, in compliance with the orders of Allah. Imam Hasan was the only Imam after his Shahadat, when he was was being taken. His body was being taken by Abu Abdullah and the Banu Hashim towards Rawza Rasul, towards the burial place of Rasulullah. Imam Hassan was the only one whose janaza, whose mayyat had come back into the house, who had to be brought back into the house, and the kafan had to be changed. Why, Mawla? Why, Mawla? What happened? As they were going towards Rawza Rasul, as they were going towards the burial place of Rasulullah, the enemies began to fire arrows on the body of Mawla Mujtaba. And the Imam was the only Imam who was brought back. My dear Muazzadaran Imam, the zulm, the oppression didn't end there. In 1926, the enemies of Ali Muhammad went to the extent of destroying the grave of Imam Mujtaba, Imam Zainul Abidin, Imam Bakr, and Imam Sadiq. And according to some narrations, if Hazrat Fatima is buried there, even her grave was not spared. Even they were not allowed to remain resting after their Shahadat. We will say, Yabna Rasulullah, Ya Bint Rasulullah. We understand. We are trying to remember and mourn you. Azadaran Imam in Karbala. My Mawla Zainul Abidin, whose grave himself was also destroyed, was looking at his father Hussein and was wishing that he was able to at least bury his father Hussein on the plains of Karbala. Accept this ibadah from us. Forgive our shortcomings and our sins. Give us the tawfiq to have the afdal al-yaqeen and the afdal al-akmal al-iman. Ya Allah, we ask you to make us amongst the ashab al-ansar of the Imam. Return our Mawla Imam al-Hujjah to us quickly. Let us be amongst the ashab al-ansar of the Imam. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم. ماتم الحسين يا حسين يا حسين يا حسين.
So we'll just inshallah begin salat in a couple minutes, giving our brothers and sisters some time inshallah to do their wudu. رب وأتوب إليه. استغفر الله كل ذنب وأتوب إليه. الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمد رسول الله. أشهد أن محمد رسول الله. أشهد أن أمير المؤمنين عليا ولي الله. أشهد أن أمير المؤمنين عليا حجة الله. حي على الصلاة، حي على الصلاة، حي على الفلاح، حي على الفلاح، حي على خير العمل، حي على خير العمل. قد قامت الصلاة، قد قامت الصلاة. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله. استغفر الله ربي، استغفر الله في ربنا. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، الرحمن الرحيم، مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم، صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إنا أنزلناه في ليلة القدر، وما أدراك ما ليلة القدر. ليلة القدر خير من 1000 شهر. تنزل الملائكة والروح فيها بإذن ربهم من كل أمر. سلام هي حتى مطلع الفجر. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله. سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده. سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. أستغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. بحول الله وقوته أقوم وأقعد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، الرحمن الرحيم، مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم، صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد، الله الصمد، لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. كذلك الله ربنا. الله أكبر. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. اللهم عجل لوليك الفرج. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. أستغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. الحمد لله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بحول الله وقوته أقوم وأقعد. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. أستغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. الحمد لله. وخير الأسماء الحسنى لله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. السلام عليك أيها النبي ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام علينا وعلى عباد الله الصالحين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله. اللهم صل على محمد وآله. الرحمن الرحيم ذو الجلال والإكرام أتوب إليه.
اللهم صل على
محمد وآله.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم إني أسألك موجبات رحمتك وأزائم مغفرتك والنجاة من النار ومن كل بلية والفوز بالجنة والرضوان في دار السلام وجوار نبيك محمد عليه وآله السلام. اللهم ما بنا من نعمة فمنك، لا إله إلا أنت. أستغفرك وأتوب إليه يا أرحم الراحمين.
اللهم صل على محمد. استغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. استغفر الله كل ذنب وأتوب إليه. الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. أشهد أن أمير المؤمنين عليا ولي الله. أشهد أن أمير المؤمنين عليا حجة الله. حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح حي على خير العمل حي على خير العمل. قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله. استغفر الله ربي وأتوب. استغفر الله. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. أستغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. بحول الله وقوته أقوم وأقعد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. كذلك الله ربنا. الله أكبر. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. ربنا اغفر لي ولوالدي وللمؤمنين يوم يقوم الحساب. رب ارحمهما كما ربياني صغيرا. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. أستغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. الحمد لله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بحول الله وقوته أقوم وأقعد. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. أستغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. بحول الله وقوته أقوم وأقعد وأركع وأسجد. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. أستغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. الله أكبر. بسم الله وبالله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. السلام عليك أيها النبي ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام علينا وعلى عباد الله الصالحين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله. اللهم صل على أستغفر الله الذي لا إله هو الحي القيوم الرحمن الرحيم جلالي والإكرام وأتوب إليه. أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم. أفضل الذكر بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم إنه ليس لي علم بموضع رزقي وإنما أطلبه بخطرات تخطر على قلبي فأجول في طلبه البلدان فأنا فيما أنا طالب كالحيران لا أدري أفي سهل هو أم في جبل أم في أرض أم في سماء أم في بر أم في بحر وعلى يدي من ومن قبل من وقد علمت أن علمه عندك وأسبابه بيدك وأنت الذي تقسمه بلطفك وتسببه برحمتك. اللهم فصل على محمد وآله واجعل يا رب رزقك لي واسعا ومطلبه سهلا ومأخذه قريبا ولا تعنني بطلب ما لم تقدر لي فيه رزقا فإنك غني عن عذابي وأنا فقير إلى رحمتك. فصل على محمد وآله وجد على عبدك بفضلك إنك ذو فضل عظيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم انصر الإسلام والمسلمين واخذل الكفر والمنافقين وأيدهم بنصرك المبين يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد إلى شرف النبي محمد صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم وآل بيته الأطهار وإلى أرواح المؤمنين والمؤمنات والمسلمين والمسلمات وأرواح أموات الحاضرين. رحم الله من يقرأ الفاتحة مسبوقة بالصلاة على محمد وآل محمد. لنصرة المظلومين وتسهيل الأمور وقضاء الحوائج وشفاء المرضى نقرأ سوية 5 مرات آية كشف السوء. جزاكم الله خير الجزاء. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أمن يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء